Hello everyone. In case we haven't met, my name is Dr. Harmony, and I will help you live fearless, live loved, and live free. If you're new to my channel, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back, and make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you know when all my videos and content come live. And today we're going to talk about the infamous question of this concept of people thinking they can have multiple twin flames, or what is the twin flame dynamic, and what does this mean in relation to multiple twin flame connections. And I'm going to, as always, use my own personal, raw and real experiences, keeping in mind that I come here, as always, to share from a place of really just transparency and to say this is my journey, and this is what I've learned, and this is what I've been taught, and this is what I've been taught to share for those that need information. So keep in mind that this may not resonate, but take what you like, leave the rest. And in that, I just want to say about starting with the idea of a twin flame. Let's just take a moment just to say, what is a twin flame? So a twin flame basically is your highest version of your own reflection, other half of your soul that complements you in a way that you each carry the frequency of a signature template that is a joint etheric body that houses all the information from eternity, from your entire journey. Do I believe in that? Yes. Do I believe in you only have one person you can do that with? Absolutely. The thing that gets so confusing for people is because to connect to that, to relate to that, you have to become that and that highest version of you. And it does become, it's a very magnetic connection. And that person puts you in alignment with your highest version of you, your highest self. They also put you in a highest alignment of your purpose and your mission. And they become your greatest and your highest mirror, because in this journey of life, everyone is our mirror. And if you really look at the heart and the heart and the heart of all these dimensions and layers, that twin flame journey and that twin flame is inside of you. And they are, like I said, the mirrored reflection of you. So therefore, you do have to embody, you do have to become those parts of you that are them. And you have to remove the interference that's blocking you from that highest version of yourself, which is also blocking you from them. Now, when that's time to align is different for everyone. How that aligns for everyone and how many teachers everyone needs is totally different, because this is a totally individual, personal path, that there are no two destinations or journeys that can be exactly alike. Yes, there are twin flame the twin flame history and twin flame commonalities and the concept that we've known of it from Adam and Eve to Mary Magdalene and Jesus, all in that age of Pisces and that 2150 years in the universal timeline that existed from this whole concept that even dates back to the beginning of time for the origination of twin flames into Atlantis, and where everyone was with their twin flame. And so as we now redefine a new earth and a new 2150 years and a new definition of what is coming in the future, that is a representation of collective oneness and unified heart, a unified love that we're all here to do. The twin flames are ushering this in from an old paradigm to a new paradigm. That means anytime we have a paradigm that's transitioning in this convergence, we're collapsing something old and we're recreating something new. And that's why we're redefining all relationships, and not just relationships, we're redefining everything. We're, the governmental structures, educational, financial systems, that list could go on and on. Everything's a tower moment being recreated, and we are at the ground zero foundation here. As twin flames, part of our relationship is to redefine that as a mission and whole, period. For one heals, we all heal. One person goes through and clearing their karma, we're clearing it for the world. And so as we go through this transcendence, through this ascension process to connect to more of who we are and what we came here to do, then there's this bandwidth that we're going through So I want to remind you guys, if you've not already got plugged into some of my prior videos and some of this information that will go really deep into this, is a twin flame redefining, the twin flame ascension, redefining the twin flame concept as we go forward. And there's a video series I have. So I'm going to put a link to that below so you can get much more detail there. But what I really wanted to today is to, one, let you realize this is an ever-changing journey for all of us. So what we've known in the past is not necessarily known in the future. And we are all meshed and entangled in this quantum entanglement of this collective oneness that's creating all of these triangles. And I talk about it in my book, that is the trinity between this entanglement of all these energies that are one at moving into this oneness. It's done through a concept of, first of all, the reflection of ourselves and us becoming one with ourselves. And we cannot do that with our twin flame or anything outside of us and create that collective oneness until we go through removing the interference that's blocking us from being whole and complete and one within. So in that idea, what is happening is we usher and portal through all of this energy. We're having all these interactions and connections with, I've been termed, twin flame ascension teachers. Only because there's so many different types. So we're creating like what I feel would be like, we're on one end saying, let's lose this label, because the label of what we've known it to be is changing from a sense that it no longer has to be hard. It no longer has to be painful. But yes, we've had to go through all that to get to where we are moving within and with our twin, technically. On the flip side of that, we are a spiritual being in a human body, and we want answers, and we want to know what's happening in our reality. So personally, for myself, teaching this journey and having went through an entire dynamic and being shown like a concept of like the real twin flame journey, and then being within 4 months of going through that journey and writing about it, being shown that I had other connections that were as deep, or as when I say as deep, what I mean is deep as connected to the point of entanglement to putting me through the exact same scenarios I had been through with the first time around. And it was repeating down to the days and the timelines and all these cycles and all this stuff happening, and showing me like things from someone being very connected to another 20 years, even though the original person that I awakened to this with, and I called in the book my true twin. What I realized 4 months later, he taught me the true journey. How did I know how to define that afterwards? I didn't know, but I knew that I had to let go of everything about it and then recollect like within it my truth. And like I'd never stopped. And that's where I continued to share that journey with people. And that's why I even like did a video series also on, can I have more than one twin flame? And so you'll find a link to that below and a card as well, or at the end, because that also answers a lot of deeper questions about some of that information that was coming through. The other thing I want you to realize, from people think and have said things about credibility and where I'm at and with that credibility and things like that, you have to realize that everything is real in some dimension or another, and the energy is changing, and we're being shown like these parts that are coming together that become bigger parts. And in those parts, they are real. They feel real. They go through it. So, as I look at this whole thing now and that experience, he shared with me that, through the whole thing, he's like, I am your catalyst, and, your person, I'm getting you ready for all of this, down to the mission. Now, in that, my truth showed me that this was what was shown in history. Okay. And I trusted a concept of my own intuition enough to even go share all of these things. But on the flip side of that, when things weren't aligning, then I had to take that step back and be like, what is this? What is real? How do I know how to present this? And it kept pointing me back to me. And as you know, my channel has always been about, and even my book, Twin Flame Codebreaker, I always said this is about you. So I started teaching to lose the labels, and started teaching to Find yourself, work on yourself, and let go of a bullseye so you could become the highest version of you, because in that I believed that it exists. I knew this was real. And where I've had to have, I don't even know, I've lost count. At some point I may go back and count, but I've had at least 12 to 15 ascension teachers that have been twin flame type connections. And am I saying you have more than one twin flame? No, you have one twin flame. However, these triangles through soul contracts and energetic frequency as we portal through are creating energetic connections that are higher frequency than what we've known in the past of twin flames. And that's again through the frequency of this portal. And so we have these, it is our reflection, it is the mirrors coming into us, as I mentioned, and so we can have these multiple types of dynamics and connections. So when I mentioned losing the labels and being able to also create a form of language between our higher selves, our lower selves, our spiritual being, and then our human self in that 3D, we're going to break down some of the things that I've been shown and that are words and terms that are technically out there. So most everyone has heard that term false twin flame. Well, we can talk about that in a sense that somebody that comes along and puts you in that experience, that you're in a twin flame experience, but it's not your twin flame. And Julian and I will have more information coming on like our connection of like these, being able to see the truth and the differences in these as we kind of go through and get through some of the basic information and general information and bigger picture information that I feel like is needed out there that people are requesting for themselves. But really the false part of that twin flame is that they're giving you an experience that is really tapping in and connecting to your lower self, connecting to a sense of the karmic ties you have with them, and an experience that's helping you clear a lot of karma. So when that happens is they can be more intense than your twin flame journey and more impactful and short-lived and like kabam, but then they come in and they leave. And they will leave you like in the dust. And now you're just like going, what happened? And then they technically never really return, but you can still be connected to them. You have to learn to let go. This is where things are in so many multidimensional aspects of what is truth. Because on one end of this, you have to let go of the concept and the idea that only one person is your person. And on the flip side of that, then, you're being asked to stay open and work on yourself and attract yourself and attract who you want to be. And that's by becoming a better person yourself. So you attract a higher frequency, because all this karma is really just interference between you and your higher self and letting go of that lower self. So another way to put that would be your false twin flame is helping you let go and release your lower self. Okay. Now, what I want you to realize here, can a eternal twin, your true person, like the one, okay, let's just call it that for a moment, the one, can they help you do that? Absolutely. But that's where it depends on your personal lessons, your personal journey, your soul contracts, and what your mission is and what you need to learn. Can you go through only one time of this happening? Sure. And you can go through like me, 15 plus people that took on the path, and keeping in mind part of my mission is a way shower and somebody to not hide all this truth that I literally signed up to come out here and to share my mission, to share my message, to help others from a place of showing them how to cross a bridge of what I've done to get from that lower self to the higher self and to come into this place of oneness, completeness, and wholeness. Because what I will say in my experience of this, the false twin flame for me would have been when I was in my 20s, when I had my codependencies, and there was like one person that was in my early 20s that ripped me apart, and actually is a potential father of my son, and who is a twin flame. And so it took me years to get through that. And then I had things showing up, presenting itself to even look like him. You know, this is before I knew about the twin flame journey itself. They would look like him, they would present like him, all these experiences like him, and then I would go through purging that codependency, the lack of worth, and like all kinds of things, and settling for less than what I deserved, because I called men my drug of choice back then. Like, I literally had an addiction then, and I called men my drug of choice, and specifically like certain men, like in this situation, that person. And so now, kind of fast forwarding, you know, several years ago, again before the twin flame journey, I had a particular person that kind of came in that same concept and created what would be the false twin flame experience. But I didn't know anything about the twin flame experience then. This had to be like 15 to 17 years ago. And it was right after I got a divorce, and I'd been single for like 3 to 4 years, working on only me. And then the person that calls in, like, I kind of say to my friend, like, oh, I'm going to have to be careful with this person, because I could really hurt him, because he's not like my person. And but like, there's this strong bond, like our first connection, our souls were dancing all over the room, and next thing you know, like, we were sucked together like magnets, and we couldn't untwine that for like 2 years, and at the end it became super painful. And I got to tell you something, he returned to my life. He went on to get married and have children, which is what he actually wanted, and he knew he couldn't get those things from me. But he literally, like, about 3 to 4 years ago, he returned and apologized to me, and he's the last person on this planet I ever would have thought would have showed back up to reconnect with in a new way. And I was telling you guys at that time it would happen, and he was one of them. But moving forward from that, I in this twin flame journey had this experience with what I felt and thought and believed to be my true twin flame. And in that, it followed the cookie cutter method. It followed everything, all the way down to the pain, the suffering, the letting go that I had done, because I did not carry into it, even at that rate, I did not carry the false connection of these ties that I was codependent with him. I went to the higher place with it, went to the higher love with it. I'm like, if it's not meant for us to be together, all I want for him is to be happy. And do you know, like, I'm sure this is definitely going to come out in a book, but what I want you to know is last year, and I also have a video out there where I talked about what if your twin flame is married, because he had gotten married a little over a year ago, and remarried, I should say, too, because he got divorced also as him and I woke up to the twin flame journey of 20-year marriage. But when that took place, basically, I was shown, without being like trying to find anything out, I was shown through these cycles of like everything opening to a cycle of closure with him. And I'd already totally let go of him, and I was moving on, but I was also shown and pointing back to him that he had done it. And I saw pictures of him online that were brought to me and showed me he was with his person, and they had just got engaged at that time. They actually got engaged in a location that is something that tied me to the whole scenario, and her real first name is my real first name, and multiple things. But what I will tell you is these pictures showed the look that they had, the glow that they had, and I was like, he found his person. He found his twin flame, and I knew it. And so what I want to tell you was, he told me at the beginning, he's like, I am not the one. I am your catalyst. And if we are to be together, I don't choose it this lifetime. I know what I want, and I'm going to go get it. And so when he showed me in this reflection, he got it, then the reflection back to me, and more was being taught to me in the separation that we've even had, because we've had bouts of things as well, in and out. We came to what I would consider full completion last year in the physical 3D and conversation last summer, but it's still completed through this Lion's Gate. So even after not being a physical connection, there was still some interactions going on energetically that was being rewound with him. And just to tell you what that is, like he planned out an entire sexual experience knowing that we were supposed to be twin flames, we were being shown this, and that we were to follow through with some things and create some interactions. And the other thing I will also say about that is I helped him with the program I now teach other people. And now that has helped thousands of people, what I helped him with. And he taught me that. He showed me that. He was my chiropractic mentor of also being a chiropractor and business person for over 20 years, and friends and connection. And it was very entangled that we did not have the we didn't have the intimacy in it. We were shown that there was brother and sister lifetime for multiple lifetimes, and our dynamic in this lifetime was a brother-sister. But it also came from a very high place of love. We had so much unconditional love for each other, and so much down to the story of how that ended last year that I'll share at some point in another more content somewhere. But it was beautifully beautiful. But what I want to say is something that I realized, that, you know, he followed through also from his higher self. He followed through from a standpoint of backing out of certain things, and also from a higher place of making certain things happen that needed to happen in order to create scenarios for me. And one of those was he planned out on August 8th down to 8 p.m. and like all these 8s that we were to come in together and become intimate and have a sexual encounter, the one and only time we ever did on a Lionsgate. Now, as I was untangling all of this stuff, there was more stuff with him when Julian came in that I was clearing. And Julian was helping me clear it. Down to the physical attachments to some injuries I got where him and the person I'm talking about, the true twin experience, we dropped this table in this event together, and it pulled my muscle in my arm. And like, I've had issues with that all along, but I never paid attention to it still being connected. And Julian like hit the spot, and like all this stuff came out of me from that connection that was still anchored into my body, which is what Julian is really good at, about releasing in those emotional codes stored in the body. And so when that came out, then at the same time all this was happening, Julian and I was like retemplating a new higher version of this journey and getting married on Lionsgate. So it's like what I call the rewrite, letting go of the old stuff, creating the new stuff. But in that, this person, I kind of like got off track here, but I was guided to. He was my catalyst. He activated me to my soul's template, my blueprint. He kept me connected to the soul purpose, and he helped me, evolve through a portal of the higher self and awaken and rebirth into a new version of myself, and to get in alignment with this whole twin flame journey. That's the greatest gift he could have ever given me. And does it feel bittersweet? Yes, at times it does. There's some days, honestly, I would give the whole journey back to have him back as my friend and unwind what we did. But recapping now, I just want to say the false twin flame is letting go of that lower self that I've been shown. The twin flame facilitator is someone that can come on your path, because I had many of those also after this experience I'm talking about. That's the twin flame catalyst. The twin flame facilitators came in to plug a leak, to keep me moving, to keep me evolving, to help me connect to the higher self. And it wasn't always about clearing the karma with them or karmic ties. It was literally that they were on the same journey, and we just plugged leaks for each other, keeping everything moving. And so we could both evolve and grow and connect. And I still have a lot of them in my life. And I told everyone, including Julian, I have a heart filled with people. And they are how I got here. And I come with a package, because I'm still in communication with some of these people. And Julian knows, and we're still friends. And like, this is the unconditional love. This is redefining new relationships. There's no jealousy in this situation. But through this process, one thing I do want to add in, when it comes to your one, okay, that's eternal. And that's why I came up with this concept in term of, the eternal twin flame, and how that parallels your journey for an infinite eternal connection. So when I had wrote over and over, my true twin flame, I was just really shown, when I asked, what does that mean? I thought this was true, and I was shown it was true. It was a true experience. They gave you what you needed for where you needed to get what you needed to be to the next level and to be ready. And there's nothing false about that. And yes, he was the awakening and the catalyst. And I had to learn how to let that go and open up to allow what was a higher version in of the same thing, but at a different frequency. And when I say these terms down to, I've mentioned the celestial twin flame, that doesn't make one twin flame different than the other. When the celestial twin flame word came through, which technically came through Julian, and that term is nothing we made up, it's out there as your one, it's coming from the place of the galactic connection that is the highest frequency, the highest version of who you are, that is eternal as well, that is truly your other half of your soul, that is destined to be here and combine and to reunite, that you're always in search for each other throughout this eternity to come home to. And that is home frequency. And that is where we're at. And I do want to give a huge shout out really quick. And then Julian's going to share some things with you. But there was a comment made by Beth Orsi. Thank you, Beth. I want to give you a huge shout out for this because she defined what the twin flame was into words that I thought was the most perfect way to just say it. So it's a journey. You see in your twin flame who you want as your other half. When you realize you are the other half and that you are who you want, then there can be reunion. Fall in love with yourself and you will draw the love to yourself. Thank you, Beth, because this is so, so true. So thank you. So with that, no further ado, I'm going to let Julian pick up from here and kind of like wrap up some things. He's really good about taking and pulling all this together and saying it more precise.
Hello. So I'm actually going to take a step back from the twin flame terminology and use an analogy for you guys. Imagine like your twin flame is like a mentor, right? And so we're going to talk about your educational path from preschool through college, through grad school, whatever you want to do. You're going through and having a teacher each year for the first few years. And after a while, you start to have like multiple teachers each year, and they change, they shift. Each one of them has a different mission to get you to a certain height. Then someone else comes in and takes over. Now, the mentor relationship can actually exist where you could actually meet your mentor at the beginning of your educational path. You can meet your mentor in the middle. You can meet your mentor after you've completed your education. But the whole thing is your mentor is a reflection of who you want to be. And no matter what teachers you have along your path, that relationship to your mentor never changes, never shifts. And once you get to a point where you've grown through your various educational levels, you're now at a point where you and your mentor can work together. And all of a sudden your mentor says, hey, I had this business or this project I wanted to do. You interested in working with me on it? And then you two come together as two halves to work together to complete this mission or create this company, this larger goal. But in order to get there, you both had to complete your education. But again, your mentor taught you some things, but there were a lot of other teachers in between. So when you talk about all these different like false twins, twin catalysts, twin facilitators, it's the exact same thing that we go through with 3D education, right? You can have different teachers. We're just saying in the twin flame dynamic, you can only have one mentor or one twin flame. So hopefully that makes it a little bit easier for people to embody and embrace, because to some degree we've all had teachers and hopefully had someone that could play the role as a mentor that reflects, the highest version of who you saw yourself to be.
So, can you just like really briefly, from a very high place, because this is going to be an entire video coming on this, I'm sure at some point, like our connection, being that mentor, being that, and I want to use the term galactic connection here, because that's what twin flames are, from that galactic highest frequency, never ending. Your other half, you're just destined to be with, and that your souls are constantly looking for each other for. Can you just share from your place what that feels like between you and I? Just like from a very high place, and like just briefly.
So, with a lot of this twin flame stuff, there's a lot of whether you're talking about karmic ties or soul contracts, right? Where there's something that needs to be done this particular lifetime, and you're coming together to achieve that. Our connection transcends multiple lifetimes, and it's like we've been on this path so long that we've been together even before our first incarnation on this planet, and it's a bond that is, if we removed all the karmic ties, removed all the experiences, it's something that's divinely ordained. That's just has always been, will always be. There's a lot more to that.
We should do that another time. One thing I want to add to that, though, is that we had to remove interference from the frequency it took for us to come together for that it came together exactly when it was supposed to. It couldn't have been together before because we weren't ready individually for us to meet in that frequency.
We had a lot of karmic noise that we had to sort through. I mean, a lot of it we've actually cleared together, but we had to get to a certain point where we could even see each other. And the way things unfolded, we just would not connect until we were ready.
Not at all. And we'll share what that means later, but there was no coming together before now.
Yeah.
And I will be honest on this, it's probably more me than him that had to be ready. So, I mean, he would have been get ready too and had things too, of course. Like, I think it on some levels is equal because it is the equal match. However, like there was some really and so I guess this is how you felt. Like there's some really deep crap that had to be addressed, just this year to be ready. So we'll talk about that later. So make sure to check out all the resources of how you can go forward with me, and also Julian. His page will be below to check out his services and his programs, so you can check him out in further detail. And we have lots more coming together that we can't wait to share with you. And the other thing I would say, if you're really questioning like yourself and what's going on in your journey, I'll make sure to put a link to a resource I have that is being able to review your reflection in the mirror image of your twin flame, or anyone that you might think you're having a twin flame dynamic connection with, that you can see and heal your own wounds. So it's a mirrored reflection type exercise that will help you see yourself and that other person in that experience, so you can put the focus on you and heal those wounds, help you identify it. So check that out in the link below if you haven't already got it, and we will see you in the next video.
Ciao.
Namaste.